What's up everyone? Today for this video, I wanted to kind of take a few steps back and put myself in a position of thinking about people who are newer to hunting or have never hunted or are interested in learning more about it. I shot a turkey, and so I'm gonna cut him up, breast him out, and kind of show you guys how I utilize the different pieces of him, how to cut the tail off, how to cut the spurs off, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I just kind of got to thinking, I have him, I'm cutting him up to make some food anyway, so I might as well show you guys how to do it for anyone who doesn't know. So hopefully you find this helpful, but it's kind of cold, so I'm going to do this quick. But yeah, this is for educational purposes, and there are going to be some times where you're going to hear things that don't sound awesome, or you might see some blood or whatever. So just as a warning, but it's part of it, it's natural, it happens, and we're going to utilize this turkey since we shot him. So let's do it. Okay, so first things first, you're going to need a few things. Ziploc bags, a knife, a sharp knife. This one is different blades, interchangeable blades, so I'm able to reuse the knife and not have to worry about getting it dirty and contaminated. And then I would also recommend gloves if you're working in the field, but I am at home, so I washed my hands, and I personally am going to be eating this turkey, so I'm willing to take that risk. But for preparing it for other people, I would definitely recommend gloves. And then I would also say that if you're in the field, it helps if you're not far from home, it's not as big of a deal, but if you're traveling, I would say get a cooler with some ice in it ready to go. That way you can just cut them up and put it on ice right away. It definitely, I think, helps, one, with the flavor, and two, you know, you don't want your meat to spoil. So, ice. So, got our turkey. What I like to do is lay them down on an edge of something, whether it's a tailgate or a porch, even a rock or something, wherever you are, something that you're able to lay them on. And I like to put them tail towards me and then the belly up. Obviously you're going to be cutting into that part. So tail towards me, belly up. You kind of put the legs on either side of you, I think, just to kind of like hold them. I think it's the easiest way. And don't mind his shot up wing. I'm not real thrilled with these rounds that I'm shooting out of my gun right now, but it basically has such a wide pattern, it hits a lot of space. So what I like to do, just in case, is to start with the beards, or beard. This guy has multiple beards, and honestly I think he has 3. There's just one that's like really tiny, like so tiny. It's like 1/8 of an inch. Super cute, but pretty cool. It's my first triple beard, if you want to count it. To be completely honest with you, I'm not even sure how to cut these beards off, because the one is so tiny. But typically what you're going to do is pull the feathers kind of back, pull them out of your way, and where the soft skin meets the edge of where the hair follicles start, that's where you're gonna kind of put your knife. I've heard of people just pulling them out, but I'm always afraid to do that, so I just cut them. So I might pluck him so you guys can see better. This fleshy skin meets the follicle. Just gonna super easy. And then what I do at home is I'll put some salt on there and let it kind of cure and dry itself out. And this guy actually had some beard rot, which is why it's like short right here, but pretty good beard. I think it was like 10 1/4 at the longest. And you're gonna, when you measure them, you measure from this top of the follicle the whole way down to whichever one is the longest. So that would be this guy. So, pretty good one. And this second beard, same thing. This is a little guy, but he was 6.5 at the longest. Pretty easy. And you best believe I'm gonna get this teeny little guy out, because I'm counting it. It's so small. If you gotta pluck feathers too, you can, because sometimes it can be hard to find right where you need to cut. It's so tiny. Okay, so I'll reserve one Ziploc bag for the beard and spurs and then the tail, just to keep it separate from the meat. So there's one. So now we're gonna cut the breasts out, and what you're gonna do is take the feathers off your blade carefully. And turkeys have like a bone right here, breastbone. It's like this hard knoll on the bottom of their stomach. And what I do is I just take my blade and kind of go down the center of it. Just a little bit of an incision. You can go up a little bit higher too if you like. And kind of just get the skin peeling away a little bit, get that part started, where you'll see some of the bone. And then you kind of just like wiggle the skin, lift it up a little bit, and obviously cut away from yourself, but you're just going to sort of get it started. And then what you want to do is keep your knife, I guess parallel would be the best word, with the meat. So essentially you're laying your blade kind of like flat against the meat, and then you're just slowly like cutting the fatty tissue and the skin off of it. And their breast goes down pretty far, so as you're cutting, you can kind of push on their like thighs, kind of split them to separate all that. You can see this is all fat, this like bubbly stuff, which is what you're gonna want to slowly cut away at. Just keep your blade kind of flat. That way you're not poking holes into your meat. Just keep it flat and cut sort of like this down into the skin and the fat, and just keep peeling away slowly till you're able to kind of work and see all of it. And I will say, when you're eating it, be careful. Like if you have any bruising, there's a good chance a pellet or a BB hit there. So just keep that in mind, so you don't bite into one of those and break your teeth. That would not be good. And then once I kind of open all this up, I'm just gonna sort of move up into this fatty tissue and kind of get closer to the other side. That way I can just open it all up and see what I'm working with here. And then once you get to the top, there's going to be a lot of fat. So what you're going to do is kind of try to be careful, because their stomach sits up in here, kind of between all of it. I'll show in a second. And basically you're just like following the meat as far as you can. Okay. So for the most part that looks pretty good. You could probably go a little higher. This bird has a lot of fat on him. And just cut all that out. Just don't go too deep or you could puncture the stomach, but just want to go enough to get, kind of just take all the fat off so you can cut the meat off. And you will have feathers that you're going to have to clean off, but that's okay. Alright, so once you're to this point, that's all his breastbone. You're going to go back to this top hard piece, kind of find where the meat starts, and you're just going to kind of cut straight into it until you can't cut anymore because there's a bone. Just kind of cut, follow along that bone, and then slowly kind of straighten your blade out. Kind of go along it just like that. And it'll just kind of slowly peel. And then once you get it started, you can kind of grip onto it and pull as you're cutting. And then once you get it going, you can flatten your blade again so you're not cutting into bone, you're just following the contour of the meat. And it should come off pretty easily. And once again, you want to be careful when you get to this top, because this right here, this vein is the start of his stomach. So we're just going to cut that fatty tissue away. And if you keep your blade kind of flat, like against it, you shouldn't puncture it. Before I get going any further, I'm going to get a bag. Bag ready. And this bone goes the whole way, so you're kind of just following it. And if you're doing it right, it should be fairly effortless. It should just kind of peel off. Just open this up so it can lay. This is all bone. Just get to the end, cut, cut, cut. And so this little piece would be like the inner loin, essentially, like a tendy, chicken tendy, like a tender. Just keep cutting, cut away that fat, and you can pull on the stomach usually a little bit, and it'll be all right. And in a little bit, I'm gonna cut that open and see what he's been eating. Because I'm always fascinated with animals and like what their diet is, and different parts of the country, and really kind of just what makes them survive and what they thrive on. So turkeys tend to like insects and clovers and different kinds of grasses, and I've seen a lot of different things. So you pretty much just cut as much meat as you can. Get up here into like where the wing starts is where that joint is going to be. And you just kind of slice her off and bring it down. Stuck on something. Might get a little tendon, but there we go. Just cutting that fat. Just get as much as you can. And then it'll come out. Gosh, if that ain't several pounds of meat right there. It's a good turkey. And what we're gonna do, I guess one thing I forgot would be maybe paper towels or like wet wipes. Let's just do this. And then this guy is gonna get his own bag from the other side. Then you want to get that on ice as quick as you can. And now we're going to do the other side. And same thing. You're going to start at the bone and just cut along it until you can't cut anymore. Slice and dice. You can kind of just cut whatever way he's wanting to go. Once again, get rid of all this fat around the stomach. You kind of can see stomach, meat. Not very full, so he didn't eat too much that day. Seems like a lot of air in there. Okay, go up as high as I can, get as much out as I can. This side's a little harder for me because I'm not a lefty. Sometimes it can be harder to really show you guys. Okay, that's gotta be real close. If not, okay. So close. Look at all that fat. There we go. I mean, that's a lot of meat. You can make several meals out of just one half. I try to take as many of the big feathers off before I put it in the bag that I can. And then basically, you're gonna clean it up when you get to the kitchen. Like, you can cut around the tendons and cut any blood or feathers or pellets that you may have, which even if you know you shot it in the head, there's no telling that he couldn't have been shot by somebody else. My Iowa bird last year was covered in pellets, and they were not mine, and I know they weren't because they were copper. So anyway, just be careful so you don't break a tooth. So that is pretty much the gist of it. Some people like to cut out the drumsticks. A lot of people don't, to be honest, because it's very tough meat, which you could make different meals with it. So you're kind of going to do something similar to a chicken where you just cut it off at the joint with that. But a lot of times people don't keep it because it's not the best. But if you're somebody that likes to utilize the whole bird, definitely do that. So what you're gonna do for the drumstick, pick the leg up, and a lot of these feathers are gonna kind of be in your way, but you'll see kind of a bald patch. And you're basically gonna just cut, like, I guess that would be a tendon right around the joint, and you'll see the joint once you kind of get in there a little ways. And there's tendons all around that joint, and you're pretty much just gonna sever those, which I haven't done this in a minute, so I gotta feel it. But if you're holding the turkey the same way I do, you're just kind of gonna cut away from you until you feel the bone, then cut around and get all that extra meat. It might be hard to see what you're doing, but just try to basically make a circle around it. There. Then, so that's basically the joint, and you're just sort of cutting all around that in a roundabout way. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see with all the feathers, but then you have a drumstick, and so obviously that would be the dark meat, white meat, depending on what your recipe's for. You know, you're gonna make different things out of it or whatever. So that's how you do the legs. And since we're down here, I'm gonna cut the spurs off. And for the record, yes, I did tag it properly. I just put duct tape around it because, no offense, but I don't need you guys knowing my information. So then to cut the spurs, just kind of push them up a little bit. And you're gonna do very similar. You're gonna go this leg joint, and you're gonna cut the tendons, go straight. So on the front side of the leg, you're gonna kind of find the center and just lay your blade into the center and go the whole way around to the back. You just can keep cutting, stretching it out. Come in from the back. There's a tendon. Cut those off. And then you got your spurs, which later on, what I like to do is I'll cut the bone kind of like with a saw or something, and I'll cut on either side of the spur with like gap about like that. And I'll file the bone down and kind of, you know, make something cool out of it. Or you can take it to a taxidermist if you don't want to deal with all that, but that's just kind of what I do. Okay, so drummy. And then, you don't really have to salt these. In my experience, I've never salted them, but you can if you want to. Put those in the bag. We'll do the same thing to the other side. And his spurs were 1.25 inches. Not the biggest ever, but they are very sharp, and very curved, like hooks. Nope, I'm not in the center. There we go. And this will dull your blade because you're going to hit against bone. So if you either have a knife sharpener or a second blade, that's definitely recommended. Maybe. from yourself too. Don't cut towards yourself. Okay, so we'll do that. And then the last thing, as far as like what people like to keep from the bird, obviously you can keep as many feathers and whatever as you want, but the tail, the pretty part. So we're gonna flip him over. So you're gonna put him on his belly now, and then a lot of these like fluffy feathers on their butt I don't keep, so I kind of just like push them down, or you can pluck them after you cut, which always cut, like if you're not sure, always cut more than less, because you can always take some off after you cut it off, but you can't put them back on. So turkeys, if I can find it, sometimes I struggle with this. Turkeys have a gland on their back in front of their tail. Actually, what I really love about this bird is he's very like rusty colored. He's missing some barring. He's missing some barring on his tail. The black bars are missing out of some feathers, and then the black is missing out of these feathers, which is really cool. So I'm gonna keep all those on, and then some of these probably. I love turkey tails because they're just all so unique. Okay, back to what I was saying. So turkeys, if I can find it, I will make it my life's goal to find this gland. Turkeys have a gland that's basically like an oil gland, which keeps their feathers, you know, clean, coated, and waterproof. And when they're preening and cleaning themselves, they'll kind of rub on that. Don't ask me what it's called because I don't know the name of it, but I know there's like a little gland that I gotta find. I don't remember how far up it is. It might even be there it is. So, right at like the base of the tail, before all these like shorter feathers start. And that's like their waterproofing system. So you're gonna find that gland, and then you're gonna go a few rows up. So I would say probably, on the safe side, I would say at least 5 rows of these smaller feathers. These ones are really neat. I might keep some of those too. But what I do is now kind of bunch the fan together. You're gonna take your knife and you're gonna find his butt. You're gonna lift up, kind of right above his butt. You'll feel the bottom of where the tailbone kind of starts. You're gonna cut straight into that. And I would say even maybe at a slightly downward angle, so you're not cutting up into your feathers. Okay. Basically right above his butthole. And you're just gonna cut straight in. Certainly helps if you have a sharper knife. Mine got kind of dull. But as you can see, the meat will kind of curl with it, kind of pull up as you're cutting, very similar to when you're cutting the joints or whatever. Then you can come in from the side. I think I might have cut too much. Did I cut too much? I might have cut too much. Hold on. I'm trying to feel it. Yeah. I'm struggling, but I think it's because my knife is all jacked up. A little good feather in the mouth. What am I missing? There's... Okay. I'm like cutting into his tailbone. There we go. Okay, so you gotta get above the tailbone. Okay, and then you can just kind of cut some layers of feather off, however many you want. Like I said, more is better because you can cut some off later. You end up with this big puff ball. I'm gonna take these back feathers out because I like it to lay flat. Okay. So there you have it. I have a gorgeous tail fan. Super pretty bird. And then what I do is I like to fan it out the whole way, get some cardboard to lay it on flat, which you want to kind of clean up the feathers too. You want to, like, all the feathers in the back of the tail, you can pluck those off. Get off as much meat as you can without cutting main feathers out, so just be careful of that. It's okay if there's a little bit of meat left, but salt it so it can cure, and then you're gonna fan it out fully as much as you can. Put it flat on some cardboard, and then take some like tacks or pins or something, and just every couple of feathers you're gonna just tack it to the cardboard so it stays open. Just let it flat and it will dry and cure. And honestly, I don't even know how long it would take. I usually forget about them so they stay for a whole year till I shoot the next turkey, and then I do something with them. But it definitely doesn't take a whole year. I would say a few months for sure to make sure it fully cures and then stays flat on its own. But then you can make like a plaque or do whatever. And I like to I think I'm gonna make like a wall of turkey fans eventually, just because I think they're so pretty and I just love how unique each one is. Like this guy is super cool. Like it's very interesting to me that his little feathers in the front here are just pure like brown and red. There's no black on them whatsoever, which is unique for sure. I don't think I've ever seen that. So pretty cool bird, really pretty. And then last but not least, just out of pure curiosity, I am gonna cut into his stomach and see what this guy's been eating, if anything, because it seems kind of empty. See, can you see that? Yes, okay. So cut this fat away. It's kind of an air pocket, really. So I'm just gonna pull it tight, pop it. Which I shot this guy at like, I don't know, I think 7:30 in the morning, so he might not have eaten really a whole lot. Kind of gassy. Yeah, there's actually not really that much in there. A little bit of maybe clover from the day before, but not too much. But that's okay. Like I said, it's just out of curiosity. But that is the gist, really. Clean up your hands. You can tell he's been strutting a lot because the bottoms of his wing feathers are all rubbed and wore off from rubbing them everywhere on the ground. But that's most of it. To be honest, turkeys are mostly feathers. Feathers and breast meat is like the majority of what they're made up of, but okay, I'm gonna turn so you guys can see me a little better, but hopefully you guys found that helpful for anyone who's never cut up a turkey before. I think turkeys are a lot of people's first animal, so youth and kids that are getting your first bird and want to do it yourself, there you go. Hopefully that's helpful, and I am excited to make some turkey dinner because I think I'm actually gonna cook some up tonight. Not sure what I'll make, but I plan on doing maybe some recipe videos too. Because I think that wild game can sometimes be like quote-unquote gamey. So I'm kind of particular with how I make some stuff, but I don't think turkey's too bad, but we'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna make. I'll have to think about it. But I don't know, wild game is like obviously super healthy and organic, so I really enjoy being able to provide my own food, and obviously hunting turkeys is a lot of fun too, so that's a bonus. But it's always awesome to be able to get one and kind of go through the whole process yourself. So I hope that video was a little bit educational, because everybody has to start somewhere. That's a wrap for this. I'm gonna go get the rest of this taken care of, kind of put everything away, clean up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.